Right. Hey, everybody. It is Camille Shanae. We got my little sister Sebastian Starr here. Today is January 6th, 2022. It has been exactly 1 year since the Capitol riots. Um, let you go first. What are your thoughts?
Oh God, you should have let me go first. Like I was saying to you prior to us recording, I wasn't paying attention too much when it first happened, mainly because I'm not political. The primary reason is because I'm not political. I don't care for politics. I don't care for, Republican, Democrat. If I could choose to be any kind of political party, I would choose to be libertarian, which I know people don't like to hear that and it rubs people the wrong way, but that's just how I feel. So I didn't give it too much thought. The only thing that I could think about it is just the level of audacity and ridiculousness that existed in just a few. And it didn't even seem like
it was the audacity for me too. Yeah.
It didn't even sound something that was like really happening in real life. Like this is stuff that you see in TV shows, movies,
apocalyptic movies when they're about to overthrow the government.
That's not real.
This is not real life.
People don't really get mad like that to the point where they're threatening politicians and political figures and
where they're actually going out of their way to actually go after them too.
Like you don't do that. That's not real life. So the entire time that it's happening, and as the images and videos are being uploaded to the internet and everyone's putting their little 2 cents in, it just seemed to get more and more ridiculous as it progressed. But what made it even more ridiculous to me were the number of people trying to justify everything.
Yes.
And that just didn't make sense. Like this isn't real life. Like there's nothing about this entire incident is justifiable. Not a single thing.
Not a single solitary thing. Like I told you last year when we made our initial response video last year, I had to unfriend an old coworker because I had made that comparison with Emmett Till and Breonna Taylor, and she jumped in there and put her little 2 cents in that nobody was asking for.
And that's another thing.
Cut her out. So I'm really glad that I did unfriend her. I'm glad I saw her true colors at that point in time, because if she had, me and her were still Facebook friends this time last year, and I had said something, I feel like she would have jumped on there and said something, and I would have had to go hunt her down for that one. Like, okay,
and that's why you don't talk about
you just go ahead and just box this out real quick, because what is going through your thought process right now?
I mean, but again, that's why you don't talk about politics and religion at the workplace anyway. That's not something that you bring up for that very reason.
Yeah.
You just don't talk about it. But
my mama telling me not to do that because
you're not supposed to.
You're not. I think they had started it first, and then I went ahead and put in my 2 cents. And my manager at the time said, "I'm sorry if I did offend you." By the way, he did say that. He did say that, and he did mean.
Now it's like, one thing to have.
He was being respectful. I'm like, that's your opinion is my opinion.
It's one thing to have different views and opinions on something and agree to disagree, but it's another thing to just be blatantly ignorant to someone else's, political views, religious views, etc., and then go out of your way to degrade that person or make them feel inferior because they believe what they believe. Like, and that's why you don't talk about it, because not everyone is going to be like, let's agree to disagree, but rather they'll try to persuade or convince you that their way is correct and your way is incorrect. And that's just what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's one of my little things I seen on Facebook or Twitter. I think it says, like a little drawing or whatever, saying like, agree to disagree about things like, about pineapples on pizza, yes. About racism, no. What you mean?
Racism is one thing. Political views is something completely different, because I know plenty of people who are Republicans who are, I'm not going to say Trump supporters, but they don't support Trump because they're racist. They support Trump because they're Republican.
Because he's a Republican. So, another old coworker of mine, this is when I was, I'm not gonna say where I was working at. Keep everybody anonymous as possible. But yeah, I'm gonna keep everybody anonymous as possible. But he said the only reason he voted for Trump because he was a Republican, and it's just, I'm like, you really proving points right now. Like, he was a really sweet guy. He was older, very sweet, very lovable. So I know he's not a mean person or anything, he's a Republican. He's a hardcore Republican, so he's going to vote for the Republican. And he came out and admitted that too. This was 2016 election.
And I also know a lot of people who are Republicans who voted for Trump, not because they even, agreed with what he was saying, but they just didn't agree with what Hillary at the time or Biden at the time was saying.
Yeah.
So it could also be the other affiliate. Like, who would you rather have? And at the time,
the lesser of two evils, everybody kept saying when Hillary Clinton was running for office.
At the time, they didn't see Trump as a big enough threat or an issue. They just saw him as a puppet, someone who could play the role, that someone else could pull the strings for. That's as far as they saw it. They didn't realize
they were very wrong on that. Let's be honest on that.
But the Capitol Riots proved
that. No, baby, he is the puppet master.
They were looking at Hillary Clinton as like an antichrist, someone who was just diabolical and evil, not because of what Trump was saying, but because what she was saying and what she has done before in the past. This is what they're telling me. And they just see like, Trump as a corporate
and he's puppet. Got some evil shit in the past. He done filed bankruptcy before, like, oh, he's a good businessman. He's filed bankruptcy.
No, that wasn't their argument. None of what Trump had in his campaign was a part of their argument. It was everything that Hillary Clinton was saying, and they didn't agree with none of that. That's what it was. And honestly, I don't even know what her campaign was about. Like, I have no idea what she was fighting for. Like,
I didn't really see anything bad about her that people kept trying to talk about all this time.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention to the first go.
That was your first election. I really hate that for you so badly. That was your first election. Who did I have for my first election?
Off of it. But then again, I didn't think that things would unravel the way that they did. And again, it was the ignorance and audacity for that entire cult of people.
Yeah.
And I'm referring to it as cult. That's exactly what they are. It was the audacity and ignorance of that entire cult of people who had nothing but justifiable excuses for everything that this man did.
What was justifiable about it, though, is the real question.
You said what?
I said, what was really justifiable about it is the real question.
There was not
a damn thing. Like the whole, me and you both strongly agree, everything in the that happened with the Black Lives Matter movements, all those riots that ensued were uncalled for, weren't unnecessary. People were just being assholes for the sake of being assholes. We know that. Yeah. What did the Nike outlet have to do with anything? What did looting that Target have to do with anything? Nothing. Those were a lot of people just didn't even care about Breonna Taylor, didn't care about Ahmaud Arbery. They didn't care about nobody. Keep in mind
that was a very, very, very small percentage of people who were actually rioting during the BLM protest. And the people who were rioting and looting weren't even a part of the protest. They were just there to wreak havoc, which is expected. Because you have people who will take advantage of the large crowds, of the gatherings, of people coming together and use that to their advantage to do whatever they want to do, because people are just born psychotic or insane.
Evil.
That comes with the territory. We understood that. But that was a very small percentage of it. Meanwhile, on the flip side of that coin, you have people who were intentionally starting riots, starting fights, starting fires. They weren't protesting against anything. They were just doing it. And then when it came down to the January 6th,
because a couple of our cousins went down there to the Nashville ones, and I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, please, for the love of God, be careful. That's all we're thinking. I think they got on GroupMe and everything, posting pictures. I don't even know which auntie said something. Just auntie said, please be careful, or just leave altogether. I don't think nobody said leave. They just said, please be careful. Like, we know what y'all down there for. We, proud of y'all, but please, for everything, be careful.
I think any of the protests in Nashville ended on a good. There was only one incident down here. That one guy who, again, he wasn't part of the BLM protest.
Tried to burn down
he burnt down the police station, which they caught him almost immediately.
I thought you were talking about the
immediately, which made me laugh because
and then they tried to hurt the state building down here too. They did. Yeah,
they tried.
They tried. There was pictures of that and everything.
It didn't go nowhere. Like, they didn't do nothing. They just showed up. They didn't storm it like they did the Capitol building, but they was there. They just didn't do nothing.
They tried to, and those were mainly people of Caucasian descent, if we're going to be honest of that, because I saw the pictures and I saw the videos. That's who tried to burn down those buildings in downtown Nashville.
But again, they got caught.
And they got caught.
They got caught. Like, no hesitation, no question. And that just made me laugh because there's a lot of things I don't get jiggy with. I don't get jiggy with arsonists because I feel like burning down buildings is unnecessary unless it's like you have to have a very good reason to just burn down a building.
As somebody who has been burned before, I'm going to strongly agree arson is extra. You want somebody to suffer. It's not,
so I don't get jiggy with nobody who plays with fire for fun. Like it's dumb. You can hurt somebody or yourself.
A number of people who actually have hurt themselves trying to burn down these buildings and stuff. And as much fire you
don't play with. Like, you don't play with fire.
Like, as much Criminal Minds we used to watch, how many episodes deal with arson? How many of those arsonists always burnt themselves before they finally got it right?
That's
dumb.
Literally how it starts.
It's like dumb.
You're going to burn yourself before you because you have to get it right somehow. But
here's one. I was trying to search the Facebook at the same time. So here's one of my Facebook memories. Nathan posted. We sent him a request too. He did not answer because, well, that's our brother. How much do you want to bet that every one of those invading the Capitol building right now complained about property damage during the BLM protest?
I seen something on
every Facebook. Single last damn one of them.
I seen something on Facebook that says something along the lines of, I have a prediction that anyone who was a part of the January 6th storming of the Capitol building will post something along the lines of, it's the 1-year anniversary of the day that we did this, blah, blah, blah. And that's how the FBI is going to find the last remaining people that are still, because they're not the brightest crayons in the coloring box. Like, they're not smart. So
no, because I kept telling you, I kept saying Elizabeth. You kept saying, who's Elizabeth? Like, that was literally a video of a woman. My name's Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville. It's a revolution. And bitch, I hope they mace you again on your way to the airport. I hope you get maced one more time.
I've seen so many videos around the summer of last year of these people just getting caught up because they were on the internet bragging, which, by the way, I shouldn't have to tell you this. I don't know if we have to take it back to the fundamental 101 rules of how the internet works. But once you post something on the internet, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, it's not going anywhere.
Let's go back to 2000.
Like, you're on the internet at that point. Like, once you post it, it's there. It's not going. You can take it down, delete it. The world had already seen it. So by the time you get to your safe space, they already know who you at, who you are, where you at, where you live, who your friends and family. They know everything about you. So
let's go back to 2001 internet safety. If a random person you don't know asks for your phone number, do not give them your phone number. They're trying to find where you are.
I shouldn't have to tell you not to post.
That's the conversation they were having with people in their 40s who were
and
in
again,
their 20s.
I'm not here to justify. I ain't trying to save nobody. I'm not trying to save anyone, but it's like, you're an adult and you don't know the consequences of posting things that you shouldn't post on the internet. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you not to.
And they deserve let the stupid eliminate themselves.
Basically. And I'm just waiting to see it because I know it's gonna happen.
Somebody gonna say, now I gotta surf.
I know it's gonna happen.
Now I gotta surf through Twitter now because somebody gonna post a picture that we did not see a year ago. And they're gonna post it today.
The FBI did a good job.
You're going to jail. I'm actually going to tag the FBI into this right now.
Like, the FBI did a really good job at wrangling up a decent number of those people on that day. Half of them were already in the process of fleeing the country when they got caught by
police. I've seen at least 3 different videos of people getting caught at the airports.
Yeah.
And it was
arguing,
hilarious.
fighting, crying.
It was a funny. That totally made my day. I was cracking up. I was in a bad mood. It's okay. I'm not mad no more. This is funny.
It's hilarious. You literally tried to kill politicians in the name of another politician.
Because he told y'all to. Simply because he told y'all to.
Simply because, and meanwhile he's in the back in the cut watching it go down like Hunger Games or something like that. And again, this isn't real life. Like, people don't do this. Like, it just doesn't. It's baffling. I don't understand how, but people are under the impression that they can just do whatever they want to get away with it. No, not when the FBI gets involved. You're not getting out of that one home, because the FBI doesn't care if you're black, white, male, female, non-binary. They don't care what country you live in.
They don't care.
They don't care.
You committed treason, they're gonna arrest you. That's point blank period.
Oh gosh, I was just thinking about a video that was circulating from last year, and I think Nathan shared this too. It was the same day. It was January 6th. It was later on in the evening though, because you know, in the morning when it first started, you had the police officers and security guards letting people in. They were taking down the barriers and letting people run.
They took selfies. That I'm still tripping off for that.
But then
a whole year later, they literally went over there. Hey, come here.
But then when the day progressed in the evening, and you had the actual FBI agents, like field agents on the Capitol, they were like,
okay, I gotta pause this real quick. We gotta pause.
When the staff changed from morning to evening, the night crew of the security service at the Capitol building came through.
It was like every single last one of those jokes.
Busting people down and like kicking people, dragging people, slinging them all over the place. Like, that's what I mean by they don't care about who you are. Nope. So it was possible, and this is just a conspiracy theory, but it's possible that the people who were there that morning weren't really like security and police officers. It was probably like inside people, you know, they're prepared to let everyone in because people got in way too easily. And then the security on the inside of the Capitol building.
Because, you know, when the NFL draft happened here, one certain amount of people got right there, you know, them stores and stuff could only hold so many people back. I'm not saying anything happened, but you know, they said you're not supposed to crowd this place. You know, right. That NFL draft, that was the biggest draft in, you know, the NFL history. Nashville showed out for that. People really came to Nashville to go to that draft like that. And once it gets to a certain amount of people, you know, you can only hold back so much. So with that being said, like thousands of people just running at you full force like that, security was only going to be able to do so much. So I mean, some people could have been there, but and then those black officers, oh hell no, they weren't part of that shit. I'm not.
And then the security on the inside of the Capitol, like that video that circulated of that gentleman, I can't think of his name, but we talked about him last year.
We did.
He was the one who lured the biggest crowd away.
That video still scary because I'm thinking,
it's terrifying.
They could kill this man.
But he did a good job. He did a good job luring them away from where all the other politicians were. Into the room where all the other security was at. So kudos to him. Like I said, I can't think of his name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He intentionally diverted them from one direction to the other.
Yeah. Because like again, watching that video, like he was one person. If all 50 of them people by that door decided we could have just jumped this dude.
Yeah, if they wanted to
would have been it for him.
Speed, they could have.
So they did.
They absolutely could have taken him hostage if they wanted to, but they weren't.
They could have did whatever and just he had to play that like but on the inside, he was terrified. You ain't sit here and tell me he wasn't scared.
Oh, I'm sure he was, but
terrified.
He was also probably thinking, okay,
I'm not going home tonight.
Like, because he knew I'm not going home tonight. Where all the other security officers were, so he knew where he was going. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
but no, I'm pretty sure any likely person would have been absolutely terrified because these people are wild, they're unpredictable, they're motivated by sinister and deviant, way of thinking and behavior. They don't care about this one security guard. If they were here to kill, leaders and politicians, they don't care about that one security guard. So in realistic,
mean, you look back at that video, that one guy points to him and says, "We're coming for you. We're coming." That's where like my heart would have dropped. Like, okay, I know where my backup is. Let me get them to my backup right now because I'm one person. If they decide to take me out, that's it for me. Because he pointed to him and said,
he seems like the kind of guy who wouldn't have gone out without a fight. He would have got a couple.
No, he would have went out good. He would have took at least one person with him. Ain't no questions asked. But you gonna do that. Yo, survival instincts are gonna kick in. You're gonna do what you gotta do to protect yourself and save yourself.
Because he was a pretty stocky guy. Like he didn't seem like
he wasn't some little skinny mini and nothing. He wasn't little, so he
out of shape or nothing like that. He would have put up a fight for sure. I don't doubt it for it.
I mean, and these ain't just security guards. These are actual Please, they arrest you. It ain't no citizen's arrest. They arrest you. They're gonna take you downtown and book you. You're like going to jail for real. So he's strapped with everything that needs to be had. So he was gonna take somebody else out with him.
We're gonna take a couple people out with him. So I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it for a second. You got a clip or something that you said that you wanted to.
I just want to play the speech that Joe Biden did today. It's only like 45 seconds long.
We didn't see a former president who had just rallied the mob to attack, sitting in a private dining room off the Oval Office in the White House, watching it all on television and doing nothing for hours as police were assaulted, lives at risk, the nation's capital under siege. This wasn't a group of tourists. This was an armed insurrection. They weren't looking to uphold the will of the people. They were looking to deny the will of the people. They weren't looking to uphold a free and fair election. They were looking to overturn one. What did we not see?
Overturn one. Yes. Yeah. He said that.
He was mad too. He was
He needed to be like, y'all got this mad because I won. And how long was the recount before it was like finally official?
It was like a week. It was like 2-3 weeks. Like it was a long time.
It wasn't. That should have been just. I think I fell asleep watching it, and that was the 2016 election. I fell asleep watching it, and I stayed up watching that one. But
this past one, I just kept checking back in. It took weeks.
It took about 2 weeks, and I think I had came down there for something else, and then that's when we found out that Joe Biden was officially president.
Which at that point it wasn't even close.
Pretty obvious that he had won because be real, why are we recounting this for the third time now?
And again, it's the irony that all of these same people in 2016, when they demanded recounts for Trump and Hillary, which she won the popular vote, by the way.
Yes.
They were just like, oh, suck it up, get over it. He won. You're sad. You're mad. You're this, you're that. Just get over it. He's the president now. There's nothing you can do about it. But those very same people 4 years later were doing
They stole our election. They stole our election. I'm mad. I'm finna go
again,
shit.
It's the ignorance and audacity, and in this case, hypocrisy.
It's the audacity for me.
Like I don't understand how somebody can be that ignorant. Like,
right.
This is why I don't care for politics. This is one of the reasons why I don't care for it.
Yeah, people are stupid. I made the mistake by talking about politics at my last job to one of our regulars. Really liked this guy too, but that was a mistake. Shouldn't have done that. I did not get to talk to about from boss man for it or anything, because I think he respects my opinion and he respects his client too. But it's just he didn't say anything to me. He's like, Camille, don't never do that again. He didn't say anything to me. It's just I think I just knew not to do that again after that, because it was like 5 minutes for me to clock out.
The only good thing about talking about politics at work is that you see people's true colors. And if you really can't get jiggy with what nobody think, how they really feel, then you don't need to be around the person no way. That's the only upside to it.
He he's sitting here defending on why Donald Trump is this and that, and why Black Lives Matter protest is this and that. And I have my I have to take myself. Okay, I'm gonna take my mask off right now because I need you to see my face as I'm talking to you right now. Once we were done talking, he walked away. I said, I'm gonna clock out now because it was time for me to go anyway. And I called Nathan as I was leaving. He's like, you weren't trying to talk to me. Why he was right there, was you? I'm like, no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't doing it. He's like, okay, because I would have told you put me on speaperphone. I would have went off. And I'm just like, glad I didn't. I probably would have got fired that day. I should have got fired that day, for being honest.
There's some things you just can't talk about.
You can't, because that kind of, I didn't see him. I didn't see him as a Republican, I guess you can say. I see him as a hardcore Trump supporter. So that's what really kind of shocked me.
I feel like there's a difference. I feel like there's a difference between being a diehard Trump supporter and being a Republican. Trump supporters are the hypocritical,
a diehard Republican and a diehard Trump supporter.
Group of people who only see the good that this guy can do. Like they see him doing no wrong, even when he blatantly does wrong over and over and over again.
He told people to storm the Capitol buildings. I really don't care what he did. That beats everything. It really does. He told these people to go commit felonies that can result in execution. That's what
when they reached out to him asking for salvation.
Somebody was shot.
He didn't do anything for him.
Somebody was shot, and people try to defend like, oh, this war veteran, she deserved better than that. She shouldn't have been doing what she was doing. What are y'all? He was
literally breaking into a government building after being warned by the security of said building.
I watched that video.
If you come through here, we will shoot you.
You saw the CIA with the gun. You saw them pointing it at her. The second she stuck her leg through that window, I mean, lady, you're not getting another warning. And me telling you to stop through the glass was your warning. Second, you.
What was I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do?
Okay, yep. And
the CIA and the FBI, the CIA and the FBI, they're trained differently than police officers. They go through years of this type of tactical training. They go through psychological training. They know exactly what to say and how to say it. Make it very, very clear what they're about to do before they do it, and you don't get no second chances. Like you said, once I tell you not to do something, you want to keep doing it, that's entirely up to you.
Yeah, like I told you, that one infamous internet persona girl, I'm not going to say that girl's name because I refuse to give her any more recognition. You know, like I said, she was like one of the main ones. That was a war veteran. She deserves respect for that. I'm just like, are you saying that, you know, officials, like law enforcement officials, need better training? That's what you sound like you're saying.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you sound like you were saying.
It was very easy to contradict. Right? It was very easy to contradict anyone's thoughts and feelings on police reform on that day, because everything that the CIA and the FBI were doing to these quote unquote civilians, because they're not civilians, they're terrorists at that point.
They were.
Is everything that regular civilians and citizens of the U.S. have been begging the police to go through. Is proper training and tactical how-tos in hostile situations. But the difference is, like I said, the CIA and the FBI are trained for years on how to handle situations like this, versus the police force is what, 6 weeks?
Something like that.
So my point exactly. I don't have no sympathy for nobody who, I don't care about nobody who got arrested or got detained. You knew what you was doing when you did it. And then you went on the internet the next couple of days afterwards. Bragged about it. And then act surprised when you got caught and you got arrested. Like, what did you think was going to happen to you? You literally cannot threaten the lives of politicians, people that you voted for, threatening to kill them, literally, and then act like you don't know where the consequences came from. Like, again, it's the hypocrisy, it's the audacity, and it's the ignorance. Those are the three key ingredients of any and everyone who had any or anything to do with storming the Capitol building last year. Like, you're ignorant, you're a hypocrite, and you have way too much audacity. Like, there's no way that you can think that what you're doing is A-okay, because some guy who doesn't have any power told you to.
Yeah, here's some of the things that I posted last year. That 2020 is it and the Joker. 2020 showing 2020 around 2021 around the workplace. I wish I could.
Yeah.
Can you see it? Yeah. That's pretty much what that was. And this got deleted. And this is an old teacher of mine. He said this. What we are seeing in Washington, D.C. is the height of white privilege. Basically, you can be a terrorist if you're white.
But, and I saw a lot of people.
He wasn't wrong for that first time.
I saw a lot of people saying stuff like that, but I don't believe that 100%, because again, they all got arrested. They're all on the most wanted list. Like, people that they're still being pursued. They're still being prosecuted. They're still being detained. Like,
now, but think about we looked about the statistics and stuff for BLMs, and those arrests, those tear gas and macing, all that stuff was pretty damn instant. There was something happening in those first 10 minutes, you know, something happened immediately. People got arrested way quicker than that. People didn't disappear and then get caught 2-3 weeks later. Yeah, you got a point. They are still being caught, but people got arrested instantly for that. And it's just basically, I made my grandmama proud because I did it for a reason versus these assholes were just doing shit to be doing it.
But again, I mean,
they may think Granddaddy's proud too, let's be real.
The people that were arrested during the BLM protests were either arrested by local police, local sheriff's department, or unfortunately, they got just snatched up by sheer opportunity by Lord knows who. The people who got arrested and detained at the Capitol riot were being looked for by the FBI. And again, that's a federal level of being arrested.
I'm happy these people were getting an example shown out of them.
It just seems like it's more potent to me to be on the FBI's most wanted list versus being on the most wanted list for your local police department.
Right.
Like, that's not, those two things aren't comparable. So yeah, the people who got arrested during the BLM protests, they were arrested for nonsense, BS reasons. It shouldn't have gotten that far. It shouldn't have escalated that quickly. But the people who are being looked for by the FBI are like, they're going to jail for the rest of their life type thing. Like, it's not no light sentence. It ain't no accident. There isn't a reason why they're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? So it just seems more severe to me. But
here's something else Nathan said too. He said, "You mean to tell me all those people that stormed the Capitol and not one police officer feared for their lives?" That's what he means, you know, George Zimmerman, he was in fear for his life because he was being attacked by an unarmed 17-year-old. So stand your ground law, did that for him.
Intimidated by anyone.
Now there is this one video of 4 teenage boys just walking down the street. Cops pull up and immediately pull guns out on them because they fit a description. Them boys had to be between the ages of 12 and 14. They were terrified. Like, the cops had to be where they had to be cautious because these 4 children could be armed and dangerous. Like, you just put a gun out on them. They're in fear for their lives.
That's the difference.
What you scared for your life for? You pulled a gun out on me.
The FBI wouldn't have. And again, it's not the FBI's job to do what the local police officers should be doing, but people say, what is it, ACAB, but I don't believe that applies to people who work for the CIA or the FBI because, again, they know what they're supposed to do. The trigger-happy, insecure men and women who sign up to be police officers because they know that job is
power thrill.
It's not, though. It really isn't. Like, when you really think about it, it's not. You don't have any real power unless you're like a lieutenant or a captain or a chief.
A sergeant.
If you're just a street cop, you have no real power over anybody. Like,
you're just a police officer, you are at the bottom of the totem pole.
You have no power whatsoever.
Sergeant, lieutenant, captain, chief, those people mean something. If a captain comes to my door to arrest me, I'm gonna be like legit scared. If you're a cop,
and you've seen
I'm gonna roll my eyes at you or something. But
you've seen like all of those shows, like just those cop shows that be on like NBC and ABC and all that stuff, where they'll show the uniform, or even just like home movies of little skits, little snippets of police officers detaining civilians for no reason. I always come across the one where it's like the street cops or the uniform officers pull over someone who is of the higher ranks in their department, like a police captain, a police chief, a lieutenant, or somebody like that.
Funny.
And the second that they find out that person is above them, their entire demeanor, attitude, mood changes. It's like
that happened in Florida, right? They pulled over like an ADA. They was really about to like try to arrest her for something, and then she just sat here and basically recited her rights to her. And then when she put out her ID, like, "Oh, y'all just lost y'all jobs."
Yeah,
it's like, what was y'all thinking? A movie came out like that too with the dude from The Great Debaters. He starred in it. I forgot the name of it, but it looked really good though, so I meant to look that up. But he purposely did that because he knew he was getting, and he took over like a whole police station. I don't know how it ended, so
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what it's called either, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Man, I lost my train of thought. But the point of all of those types of movies and TV shows and short films and things like that is just to showcase this person doesn't have to be in a certain position of power for you to show them respect.
Shouldn't have to be. Fox's show
treat them like a person. Like the point of it is like you never know who you're getting involved with. No, the point of it is this is a human being, just like you are. Why are you harassing? Why are you abusing your power? Why do you think that this is okay for you to do? It just so happens that I'm a lieutenant of your division, or I'm a captain of your division. I'm someone who can take your job away from you. Like,
Fox show 911, Angela Bassett. She's in that. This is a really good example. Her ex-husband and their 2 kids are in the car together. They're driving. They get pulled over by some white cops. Cops pulls them out immediately. The daughter's just like, okay, what are you pulling him out for? He's just like, I need to be quiet. Don't talk. We're just gonna listen to them. Like, she's a cop. They know to respect police officers, but at the same time, like, I'm gonna be respectful, but also, what is he telling you to get out the car for? He's making her get out too. The son's in the back seat, sleep, so he don't really know what's going on. Then he kind of wakes up, and the cop pulls the gun and points at him immediately. The kid, like 10, 11, he terrified. He don't know what's going on. And then he got to scream, my wife is Athena Grant. My wife is Athena Grant. She's a sergeant. Call her. Please don't shoot. Like, why do you have to say that? Why did y'all pull a gun out on a child that quickly? It escalated so quickly.
And that's how it is. That's the reality of it, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Then another fun family sitcom, Family Matters. Dad's a cop. Little Eddie Winslow got pulled over, and I don't think he got arrested, but they pretty much humiliated the young Black teenager. He's like, were you doing anything? He just couldn't stress about that. Dad, I was not doing anything. I did nothing wrong. Now, the reason
why that example is so kind of flip-floppy is because I haven't seen that entire episode, but the consensus of it is that Eddie Winslow is always getting into trouble. And he's always trying to talk his way out of getting in trouble. And he knows that all I have to do is say my dad is X guy, and he can basically get out of doing whatever he wants to do. But in this case, it was...
I don't think he even did that. I don't even think he said, my father is Carl Winslow, call him if you need to. He didn't, because he would have dropped that. Like, my father's a cop, I'm going to respect y'all. But, okay, I feel like y'all doing too much. What am I really getting pulled over for? What am I doing all this for? Why are y'all humiliating me like this for? Like, it's really deep, because he came home, like, broken and hurt. And it's just like, I've never been that humiliated before, and they didn't care. And then he goes and finds the cops, like, y'all pulled over a young teenager, right? Y'all know that young teenager was my son? They didn't care. Even after he
I'm gonna stop right there, because one of the police officers was like, he felt guilty about the whole incident.
He did. One did, the other one did not care.
I'm sorry that this happened. I'm sorry that we arrested your son. And he's like, no, it doesn't matter that it was my son. It was just some random Black kid that y'all saw in a white neighborhood and decided to harass. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with Brooklyn Nine-Nine at all, but Terry Crews did that show.
I've seen that clip.
He is a lieutenant for the
I'm about to say, he's above Andy Samberg. Andy Samberg answers to him, right?
Yeah, Andy Samberg is a detective. Terry Crews was the lieutenant of the precinct they worked at. All he was doing was looking for his little girl's doll that fell out the window, and he got harassed and arrested by just a regular on-duty police officer.
Street cop. Like, you at the bottom, bro. I can thump you and your job is gone. Like, you are nothing. You know that, right? But
and then even still, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a good representation, not just on the whole good cop, bad cop thing, or the race debate, so to speak, but the representation in it, because you had Terry Crews, who's a strong, Black man playing a captain lieutenant.
And let's be honest, he's a very intimidating person. So seeing somebody that size.
And then you also have the captain of their team is also a Black man who is like the head honcho in charge over everything. And he's gay. So he's part of the LGBT community as well. Mm-hmm. So you have these two very, very strong, sophisticated men in leader role positions in a New York City police department, of course they're going to have to tackle that issue and discuss it and bring it up because it's relevant. It matters.
It does matter.
And then you have 2 more POCs on their team as well, 2 Hispanic Latino women on the team as well. So that conversation comes up constantly throughout the show because it's prevalent. Because how do these people of color really react to real life instances and situations that happen in New York City of all places, in Brooklyn of all places? Like, there's a different structure there for people of color, especially if you're on a police force, because you're already looking at the world different. The world is looking at you differently. So it has to just be something that's talked about. And I think they did a good job.
It can't be ignored. That's everything going on with the election, though. I think we talked about this just a little bit because then the stuff happened afterwards too. You know, I was the only Black. It was only a small job, only like 4 employees. I was the only Black person there, one white girl, and then the other 2 girls were both Mexican. So with that being said, a serious question got asked, like, you know, boss man, what do we do if something happens? Because you got to understand that your staff is 75% people of color. What if somebody comes in here? What do we do? He said, you know, be professional, be calm, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm just, okay, I hear you, but if the N-word gets said, that's going out the window. I think that's probably gonna be the day you fire me. We just had to be. I had to be honest to say that.
We live in a pretty sensitive spot in the country. We live in Nashville, unfortunately.
I am in Rutherford County, actually. You're in.
What I'll say about people in Nashville is that people in Nashville are inclusive. They're open-minded. They're understanding, and they generally try to keep the peace. People in Tennessee, on the other hand,
Rutherford County to be exact, that's where I am. I am in Rutherford County, Tennessee right now. I saw nothing but Trump flags during this whole thing, and I'm just sitting here thinking, yep, I can't wait for this shit to be over with, because I was like getting annoyed just driving down the street every day and seeing this shit everywhere. And honestly, looking at that now, like if a Biden post had been put up somewhere, those people knew they couldn't do it. That's just the reality of it. It's like there probably were a lot of Biden supporters who probably wanted to post their stuff up, but they know they couldn't. They knew it wasn't going to last. They probably didn't feel safe doing it, if we're being honest.
The difference between a Trump supporter and a Biden supporter, Biden doesn't have supporters. Biden has people who elected him in a position who will hold him accountable for everything that he does or doesn't do. People who support Trump see no wrong in
what he does.
They're not going to hold him accountable. They're going to try to justify his actions, and that's the difference. So you're not going to see Biden posters and Biden flags. And
you could, I think they were just too scared to do it. I'm pretty sure there are probably a lot of proud Democrats who live here, and they were just like, you know, for safety reasons, I'm not. The
only reason, and I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to mean this, the only reason why people will put up Biden flags and Biden posters is just to piss off Trump supporters. Like they don't.
I would have done it in a heartbeat. Don't get me wrong. I mean, agree.
Like, but I'm saying they don't care that much. Yeah, you can be a Democrat and be proud of that, just like you can be proud to be gay or lesbian or trans or whatever. But you're posting the flag to not only showcase that you're proud of that, but it's to mainly, I think, piss off everyone around you who doesn't support that.
Pretty much.
Like I see the videos all the time of like the trans teenagers or the gay teenagers who will purposefully download images or, you know, buy flags to represent their letter in the LGBT community and hang it up somewhere, whether it be inside their house or outside their house. And they're doing it all with the intention to piss off
hang it outside
whoever they know is going to piss off. Like you're not doing it just because you're proud. You're doing it to make other people around you upset.
And I support that, damn it. I support that.
But
that's the level of pettiness I'm trying to get on.
Because after the election, I was driving around on Shelby Avenue, and there weren't a lot of like Trump flags or Trump banners.
Oh, in that area? Of course not. No, hell no.
But there was a group of people, there was one house that had Biden flags and Biden banners everywhere. They were like having an election day party.
I think I saw that house. I think I saw that house.
Like, And it's just to piss. That's the reason why Trump supporters fly their flags all over the city, or that's why they do it to piss people off. They're not doing it because they're trying to prove a point. You can prove a point by wearing your hat or wearing a t-shirt. Because I see people all the time. They don't go nowhere hooping and hollering. I work in retail. I've helped people with Trump shirts and Trump hats on. It was awkward, but they didn't look at me like they didn't engage in that kind of conversation. They didn't try to antagonize nothing. They just wore the hat or the shirt or even the jacket, maybe. They're just supporting their candidate. The people who want to piss other people off, they wave the flag. They run outside and scream it into the streets. They bring it up randomly out of nowhere. Like,
pretty much.
I had a lady, perfect example. So like I said, I've helped gentlemen who have worn the shirts, worn the hats. They weren't problematic. They didn't try to start no BS. They was just there to get the service and leave. One particular occasion, I had a lady who wore a shirt that said, I identify as vaccinated. And this was right when the vaccines started happening.
Wait a minute, what?
Okay. Her shirt said, I identify as vaccinated. As in, she's not really vaccinated, but she identifies as someone who has been vaccinated in a similar, and she was problematic. She was very problematic.
Yes.
She kept engaging everyone into her conversation. She kept trying to pull people in and openly discuss why she's against vaccines, why she's against Joe Biden, why she's, this, that, and the third. She did that intentionally because she wanted to get reactions out of people. Now, I don't care. I ignored her. I didn't say 2 words to her, but please believe she tried to pull me in every chance she got.
Don't do that.
Talk about whatever she felt was going to piss people off. So, again, there's a difference between being a Republican and being a Trump
jackass.
Like, there's a humongous difference. Some people don't care. Some people are just, you know what I'm saying, there to support their candidate, and that's fine. But there are other people who are problematic and do things intentionally just so they can get reactions out of people. And those are the people that I'm generally trying to avoid, because it's like, you're not doing anything to benefit nobody. You're just...
I got 2 stories to talk about that. You're talking about, you see people with the Trump stuff on, so you're not against them. They didn't start nothing. 2016 election, told you it was Pitbull Awareness Day. I went down to Centennial Park. I got Sony and baby Titan there. Again, Titan was the cutest puppy. The girl had to be a teenager. Shirt, hat, everything. Her daddy behind her. I'm just like, oh, look at y'all. Sure, you can pet the dog, and her daddy want to take a picture. Oh, she can hold him, and it's just, this is weird. But she had to
only
be
weird if you make it weird. If a Trump supporter or even a Republican,
like I was adjusting Titan's heart,
but they ain't trying to start no problems. I'm not gonna start a problem where
right. Don't start none, won't be none. That's exactly.
What I'm not trying to argue with nobody, but
I think I was just adjusting Titan's harness.
I'm either gonna avoid you.
And I turn around and she's like behind me with a big smile on her face, because he was like 3 months old at the time. So he's still pretty little, and he's just, he was the cutest puppy. We can't deny that. And it's just, she wanted to pet the puppy. It's just dogs everywhere. And it's just, I'm going for the puppies. I'm not going for the full-grown dogs. I'm going for the puppies. And I'm like, I let her pet him. Her daddy pulled out a phone, took a picture. I let him take a picture, and I said she can hold him if she wants to. And it's fine. It's just, y'all got all that stuff on. Why? Y'all touching my dog. Why? But I'm not gonna be that person. So I let the teenager play with my puppy. I let her take a picture with them, and they went on about their day. And something else to a rebuttal. This woman did not start anything. This was I was a notary for a minute, and a pastor came in to get something notarized. I'm not gonna read the whole thing out because I did make a blog about it on Tumblr. So here's the day that I wrote it. I said, okay, earlier today I was doing a notary for a pastor. She said she left her church because it was getting too liberal because they were letting gays join. I was not going to respond. My face gave it away. You know, I smile all the time.
And that's what I mean by problematic. You didn't have to tell me that.
My face gave, she could have kept that to herself. Yes, she could have, because my face totally gave it away. Like, all right, that's not really a good reason to leave the church at all, not in the slightest. You should have stayed at that church.
That's the church you want to stay at because they're actually going by the book.
They're helping people, they're loving people, they're loving the sinner, not the sin, and they're accepting people like Jesus is supposed to do. And I didn't say all that to her, but it's just either way, I made a face and that just gave it away. And it's just, I didn't say anything, but it's just, my face totally gave it away. I wasn't rude or disrespectful to her or anything. And it's just a simple fact that it's just like, well, the suicide rate between, I did say this, I said the suicide rate between people of that age, young youths at that, are pretty high because they do get denied by their family, religious officials sit there and keep telling them they're wrong, they're going to hell. And basically, I'm going to look at this, I'm going to hell anyway, so suicide is the only step for them. And they might have changed their tune a little bit. Well, I don't want nobody to ever feel that way. And it's just like, maybe unintentionally you're not, but if you're going to sit here and kind of snub people for being nice to the 16-year-old gay person, just why is that wrong?
But I've noticed that a lot of churches, especially in the city of Nashville, have been more inclusive in that department.
A whole lot more.
They're much more understanding because they realize, like, just like you said, these young adults have been discriminated against, they have been ridiculed, they have been, you know, basically kicked out of their families just for being who they are and accepting that. You know?
If they come from a strong religious household, I mean, they believe in the Bible, they love God, they are religious, they love their religion, and they really do hate that their church family, their blood family threw them out like trash. And here's the end of it.
It could always be a publicity stunt for some of these churches. Like,
I'll definitely, no questions asked.
Some of them, it could just be a
hopping on the fad, of course. A lot of people do that.
But I feel like in some cases, some cases, like, they're being authentic, like, genuinely speaking, they want to help these people. Like, those are the churches that open their doors.
Those small churches in poor neighborhoods, that's not they're helping these people. They're the 14-year-old who just got kicked out for being gay. They're actually helping this young child because he ain't got nobody. So they're actually helping him. And here's the end of what I wrote too. I said, like I said, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but that's like a little brief of what I basically said to her. And she listened. And I just said this. I said, honestly, if more people were just willing to listen to the world, if just people would listen, the world would be a much better place. All it takes is for one person to listen and to understand. People are people, whether you agree with their lifestyles or not. People are people. Words hurt, and some of those words hurt so deep that people even take their own lives because of those harsh words. You may not have
You said all that to this lady?
No, I didn't say this to her, of course, but I said this is just what I wrote in my blog.
Okay. I was saying, because you said all that to the lady.
Oh God, no! I said she just, the fact that she sat and just listened to me because I made a face, and it's just basically, okay, I don't agree with your actions. If somebody gay, that's their business. But you deciding to leave a church because they're being accepting to gay people. I only see one wrong person here, and that's you. I didn't say that to her, not, but it's just my face gave it away. It's just, okay. I was just gonna notarize her thing and just and that'll be $10. Have a nice day. But she asked, and it's just like, okay, well, if you're asking, I'm gonna say something. That's just how that went. And we're gonna pause for a second. Yeah, but now, like I said, I didn't say what I just wrote. That was just for my blog and stuff. But it's just like she listened, and I appreciate that. And how long ago was that? That was a minute ago. But just it takes just one person to listen. This was an older white woman at that too, and then here I am, a woman of color. No, I am
bring up something that I think is kind of off topic, but also fitting. So, as you and the entire universe is well aware of, Betty White unfortunately passed away New Year's Eve.
17 days before her 100th birthday.
When I was pondering that, because I take death very, very seriously. But when I was pondering that, I thought to myself, Betty White grew up in a time where And even as she died, her level of
fame. She was
fame
17 years older than her grandfather.
But she grew up in a time and even died in a time where a white woman can literally get away with saying whatever she wanted to. Like Betty White literally lived to the point where she could have said anything that she wanted to. She could have gotten away with it. Not just because she's Betty White, but because she's an older white woman. And she still chose to speak on issues that were valid, that mattered, that were bigger than her. Like she fought against racism and homophobia and sexism and all of that throughout her entire lifetime.
All four Golden Girls actually were very political and activists. All of them were, and we loved them more, knowing what they did off camera. You loved them hella more because of that.
And she chose to speak on issues that mattered to her, even though none of them had anything to do with her. She still chose to use her platform to speak on it and make those issues aware. And
she had a black man on her show. They threatened to cancel her show because of that. And she did it anyway.
Yeah, she grew up in a time where a lot of these other white women in her age group, in her generation, would have gone against her and everything she believed in and everything she said, and she chose to fight against them. So it's like, y'all don't have an excuse.
You don't. She chose
none of this older generation of people. That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse, because she was 99 years old and she was fighting her entire life for equality,
equality,
racial equality.
She fit in that mold perfectly. She didn't have to fight for nobody. She was safe, and she chose to fight for people that y'all wouldn't listen to. Y'all not gonna listen to this black man, but y'all gonna listen to me. Okay, well, I'm gonna say what this black man said, and I agree with him.
Exactly. And I seen the videos, I've seen the clips, because whenever a celebrity dies, they play go through their entire discography, IMDb report,
Yeah.
And
I was asking people at work that talked about, y'all sad about Betty White. One girl said, yeah, I am. And she fucks with black people too. Like that. Like, yes, of course, I'm heartbroken. It's just, yes, that's important.
It's funny. And again, like I said, I was pondering on it. She was famous for saying and doing whatever she wanted to do. But one of the biggest things that she did and said was to advocate and fight for equality for people of color, LGBT, women. Like, she did everything that this generation of people are trying to do, and she was still doing it up until the day she died. So that older generation, that's no excuse. Oh, that's just how we grew up. This is just how that's not an excuse.
No, y'all chose to be that way. Y'all could have fought against it, and y'all chose not to. There's a difference there. Because with that being said, that's the way you grow up, then that's what you taught your children. Then why haven't you seen your daughter for 15 years? Oh, that's right. She married a black man, so you don't want anything to do with her anymore.
Exactly.
You cut her off.
And she didn't do it out of spite. She didn't do it out of pity. She didn't do it to piss you off. She did it because
she probably did in the beginning, but once she fell in love
with, just like your son can't help that he fell in love with another guy, but you've banished him from the family for that. Okay.
Yep. You don't have relationship with your kids. Like, I don't have kids. You did say. This is how I was raised. Clearly, you raised them that way too, and they clearly don't give a shit. Just
exactly.
That's it. You don't choose what you fall in love with. That's simple.
You don't.
Yeah. Oh, here's something else. I was looking at.
I just thought about that. I was just thinking about that. Just pondering, because she was.
No, that's a very big deal. It is, because people do use it as an excuse. That's just a generation we grew up in. That's blah blah blah.
They use that as an
excuse. Choosing to break those generational curses. I think that was a really good episode of Law and Order. Terrence Howard had guest starred on there.
Terrence Howard.
I don't know the actress's name, but she played Big Mama on Soul Food. I don't know her real name. But she played his aunt. A white woman said she was raped, and Terrence Howard by her roommate's brother, but then it actually turned out to be Terrence Howard's cousin, and his mother was actually gang raped by the girl's grandfather back in the day.
Oh, so she told the story.
So he thought about assaulting her just basically to get revenge for what y'all did to my mother. I was a child and I witnessed y'all do this to her, and then y'all laughed about it and y'all got away with it. But reality, he's like, you know what? I'm not evil like that. I couldn't do that to her. I did not actually sexually assault her. I did break into her house. I did scare her, but I did not sexually assault her. So I'll take whatever sentence I get for that part, but I'm not going to jail for rape. I didn't do it. And she finally told the truth. No, he did not actually sexually assault me. He didn't. So she got arrested for basically the false reporting. And it ended with her talking to her grandfather. All my life, all you did was teach me how to hate. All you tried to do was teach me how to hate. I hate you. That's what you accomplished. Because she, like I said, first she said it was her roommate's brother. Her roommate is Black. Her roommate, her best friend. She purposely went to go work in Black neighborhoods, Black school systems to basically prove to herself, I'm not racist. I'm not going to let this man's hate get into my brain and keep telling me that Black people are evil when I know they're not.
Right.
You know, she was raised by her racist grandfather. And at the end of the day, it is proof that it's a choice. He tried to teach you to hate, and you just said, basically, as a child, you realize, nah, that's wrong. That's not right. And I'm for to prove to him that I'm not racist. I mean, in the end, she ended up losing her best friend because of that, because she did accuse her best friend's brother.
I mean,
like that ain't your best friend no more. She don't want shit to do with you no more. And if she do, it's gonna take a very long time for that forgiveness. I personally could be done with you, but you know, we don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But just like saying that's generational curses being broken. It's just like she went out of her way to prove I'm not like this man. I refuse to be anything like this man. And kudos to those people who are born into those families.
Like you try so hard to prove to someone that you're not like them, you're going to end up getting yourself in a situation that's, you know, more difficult to get out of.
That's pretty much what that episode did.
Like, it just seems.
That's pretty much what that episode did do. And like I said, she lived in a predominantly Black neighborhood with her Black roommate. She worked as a teacher in low schools, but particularly, you know, populated Black schools and stuff. She wanted to prove to herself, I'm not racist. I'm not like this man. I'm not. And end of the day, I say kudos to people like that. He was just like, I clearly don't hate Black people. I know I refuse to be.
But this is just me. When you try too hard to prove that you don't, that kind of comes off some way.
You don't make people uncomfortable.
You don't have to try that hard. If I'm cool with you, I'm cool with you. You don't have to go out of your way every time we have an interaction to prove that you're not a racist. Because I'm going to think that you're trying too hard and that maybe you really are, but you're lying to yourself. Like you're in denial about it. Like, so don't do that. Just
be normal, be average. It's gonna get uncomfortable after a minute. So I get what you're saying. Like, clearly you're not racist. You're not, because you wouldn't be near me. You wouldn't be trying to start a friendship with me. So, but just don't try too hard. Just relax, be normal, be yourself.
And I'll use my old college roommate for example. She clearly was not racist, but she was raised in a very conservative Christian household, very strong Christian beliefs, but she was not a hypocrite. She didn't hate, you know, anyone who was gay or bi or trans or queer, none of that. She didn't have nothing to do with me, even though our religious affiliations couldn't be more polar opposite. You know, she had nothing against anybody. I invited her to family functions before, and she didn't have, like, she wasn't uncomfortable. She didn't feel.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember. I was like, yeah. She came to 4th of July that time.
And she also did the Christianly thing by going out of her way to help people. Like, she would buy homeless people food and drinks and like take them places if she had to. Like, she was that type of Christian person, which is like, you go by the actual book. You're not just saying what you feel and then, no, you're living the example, the Christian lifestyle, so to speak. Like, so she's a really good example of someone who doesn't try too hard to get other people who aren't like her to like her. She just does what she thinks God would want her to do, and that's how she lives her life. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But a lot of people, and she's Republican, but a lot of people will cross the two. She said she's a contract. She said she's like a libertarian Republican, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what she would consider.
Oh, I bet her family conversations on politics are funny.
I don't talk about it. Like I already don't even like talking about religion.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Uncle at her family function brings it up, and she got to speak her mind. I'm recording.
Like she loves talking to me about religion because she knows that I can handle that conversation. But I really try to avoid it because you're not supposed to talk about it. And
but I'm pretty sure a couple of arguments, soon as she got a voting age, arguments started at her family get-togethers when politics got brought up. Because probably. Well, if I'm being honest, well, you know what? Somebody got mad and said something.
Yeah, she's the type of person who was like, I don't like Trump. I don't support anything that he does, but he's a Republican. So what am I supposed to do? Like, that's how she feels. She's like, I don't care for him as an individual. I think where he stands on as far as his religious beliefs are nothing on what I agree. And it's the
I don't think they're there for being honest, because he got asking you what's one of your favorite quotes, what's one of your favorite prayers as personal. Bro, just say one. It don't really matter. Just say one. I can't give you no quotes from the Bible because I don't read it like that. So, I don't identify as Christian. I am a believer of God, and I leave it at that.
But the fact that I went to a predominantly Christian university, I was spoon-fed Bible stories, not necessarily Bible verses. So I'm familiar with a lot of the stories in the Bible.
I work at 2 different Christian-themed daycares. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not anti anything. It's just I work at 2 Christian-themed daycares. So when we had to read Bible stories, I had to read them. I wasn't against them or sit here and really say, well, I really want to tell them something different. Like, no, I'm not that person. Because I am. I don't care for the American history behind Christianity. So therefore, I can never call myself a Christian.
I think that's a contradiction. I feel like you can't be the type of American Christian that American Christians claim to be and still call yourself Christian. You're not.
You can't. I mean, look at the stories.
The American Christian is Christian to me.
Not a single piece of it is. Y'all told the Native Americans their way of praying was wrong. You went to Africa and told them their ways of praying was wrong. So no, I can't get behind it. Never will.
And those people make me laugh because they're
those are the people who stormed the Capitol last year and are trying.
They're the ones that are like, I care about your soul, and no, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You don't care about my soul at all. Like,
y'all want to do the things. Your great granddaddy did this, and then now in your day and age, you did this. Your great granddaddy didn't care, and you don't care. Everybody stop lying. Y'all are not Christians. Y'all never were. If you got to beat somebody with Bibles, that's not doing it right. If you got to tell me saying Black Lives Matter is wrong, but you going and telling a police officer, I'm coming for you is right. No, you're your great granddad's wrong and you're wrong. Y'all both wrong. Y'all both going to hell.
This isn't anything new. Americans for decades have already, linked religion and politics together, and that's the biggest issue. Is that people who claim Christianity also claim to be patriotic, and the history of America, as far as their involvement with other countries, has been nothing but negative.
The African American history experience will tell you differently. Slave trading will sit here and definitely tell you differently. Another conversation me and Nathan had before, I told him why I don't label myself as a Christian, because I don't like the American history behind it. I mean, yeah, you're right on that one. That's your choice, because this was the thing, like Harriet Tubman, because no, he agreed with me on this one. He agreed with me.
Your choice. It's wrong.
No, he agreed with me on this. No, he did agree with me on this though. He said, Harriet Tubman was the modern day Moses, was she not?
What?
Was Harriet Tubman not the modern day Moses?
You can argue that, yes.
She definitely was. I mean, here are these white slave owners reading these Bible passages to the slaves, and basically when she took it to heart and said, okay, I must be Moses, so I gotta let my people go. No, not that part of the Bible. Like, what? But he let the people go, so that means y'all need to let us go. No, we're not doing that. Just basically, when they started taking the Bible to heart and started reading certain passages, started understanding those passages, it's just like, okay, no, we didn't mean for y'all to understand that part. We didn't mean for y'all to know that part, but like, no, we're doing this part. So Everybody come with me. I'm letting my people go. So do you agree or not agree
on that one? I'm not here to talk about that.
I'm just saying she was definitely a modern day Moses, and that's where that comes in at, because
I'm not doing it, because that'll get into another conversation that I don't think you're ready to have with me just yet. So, but I will say though,
we are coming back to that thing.
I've seen the biopic film. It was great, and I learned a lot about her that I didn't know in like elementary school.
Yeah, schools are gonna only tell you.
There was so much more to her character than just freeing enslaved individuals. She led militias and armies and small pillages and small bands of soldiers to fight against these plantation owners. Like
she did what she had to do.
Was the one in the front with all of that. Like she sacrificed so much just to get.
You are 6th generation New Yorker. You need to thank Harriet Tubman for making sure that your whoever
and made it up there. And not only did she do it, but she did it after people kept telling her, if you go back there, they're going to kill you. If you go back there, you're not making it back here. If you keep going back to do this, we're not going to see you anymore. And she kept going back.
And
like when you think about people who divine expectations, like you think of Harriet Tubman. Like,
I definitely look at her story. As I say, on her deathbed, she was more than likely asked, how did you save so many people? She took that to the grave with her. She probably smiled, closed her eyes, and didn't utter another word. Ain't no way. Like, she not gonna tell you nothing. She died with them secrets. She never told y'all how she got so many people here.
She's a superhero. That's how she did.
That's it.
It shouldn't, in a time like that, where a Black woman at that,
right,
can easily be picked up and taken wherever. You could get snatched up, disappear, never to be seen again. You managed to save so many people, and then did other things that people didn't even know you were capable of doing. Like, she's a freaking superhero. Like,
she was.
I don't mean that to be funny. I don't mean that in
I get it. No, she was.
She is a real life superhero. I have superpowers. That's who she was. Like,
yeah,
she had gifts and abilities that were seen as rarities. No other human being could have done what she was doing. Like, she was a real life superhero. Like, that's the only way that what she did makes sense.
Yeah.
Ain't no other way around it. That's how. That's the explanation. She's a superhero.
I'm gonna read you one of my Facebook memories. I said this at 3:24 p.m. I said, Camilla's at work, so for professional reasons, I will not be commenting. I get off at 7. Ranting will begin soon after. And that's when I made that first video, just me by myself. That video is like 6.5 minutes long. And if you watch it, you see me get angrier as the clock keeps going, because I was angry, because that shit was nerve-wracking to watch.
It's just, again, I wasn't paying too much attention to it as it happened. It was all the days that followed that I started to really pay attention,
because here's what Danielle had posted that same day too. She said,
"Oh God, what did she say?"
I reposted hers. She said, Black people can't protest for justice in their hometown on the street, but white people can break into a government building and protest with no repercussion. Law enforcement, accidental deaths. She put the quotation marks on that, so I had to do that for her. Nothing. Wow. America KK. Fucking wow. That's your best friend, and I strongly agree with her.
I mean, she's not wrong. And here's the thing, if you want to talk to somebody about politics, not politics, but just like basic human rights in general, she's probably the go-to, because she doesn't care about pissing people off or making people uncomfortable. I would just rather not talk about it.
You try to be Buffy, also polar opposite, is crazy.
You really are, though, and that's why
you don't like to stir up shit. But
here's
don't
the other
care.
thing, and this is off topic. When it comes to like personal affairs and conflicts personally, she'll keep her mouth shut to keep the peace. I don't care about hurting my whoever's feelings. I don't talk about politics or religion. She doesn't care about politics or religion, so she'll talk about it.
A real fight gonna happen with that one. It's just really, I really want to see where you stand. That are you gonna treat me differently because of this and that?
I just don't want to know. I don't want to know. It's none of my business. And
but that is a big deal though. I know she's not wrong for that though, because situations.
I'm not saying she's wrong for it. I'm just saying I would rather not know.
With that being said, the Capitol Riots, all that shit, like, so y'all think that shit was cool, but the protest for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor was wrong? What the fuck is your mind at? Nah, fuck you for that.
Anyone who goes against anything Breonna Taylor related can literally die in their sleep. That's how I feel, because that's the one that I took the most personal. That was the case that struck court in me.
I had to block and unfriend that old coworker because of that.
So I'll talk about Breonna Taylor until I run out of breath, because that's personal. George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, they were personal, but Breonna Taylor was more personal.
Hit home a little bit more. Yeah, it did.
It hit me in the face with a brick. Like, everything about Breonna Taylor's case did not sit right with me from the second I heard about it. And that just drove a nail into my brain. Like,
that's why that old coworker got cussed the fuck out and blocked. She is a dumbass. That girl will be a dumbass to her dying days, because how are you that?
Another case that struck very close to me, and this one isn't like BLM related, but, and I can't remember this young woman's name, and I am so sorry, but she was just walking back to her car from like a restaurant, and a guy tries to speak to her. She politely declines his advancements and just keeps walking to her car. He kills her and then sleeps with her dead body, leaving her in the backseat of her car to be found like the next day. That boiled my blood to like 500 degrees. Like, I was beaming with anger when that story came out. Like, I was disgusted.
FYI to the young women watching this, tasers on Amazon for like $12. I have one.
You better get you a Glock 19.
If you're not scared of guns, get you a gun.
And Harry got me a gun. He's trying to get some more. And I don't even like guns. I don't like them at all. I carry pocket knives, but now I got both, because I refuse. Because that's something that I would do. Someone tries to speak to me while I'm walking to my car, I will politely decline.
That's what I'm doing.
Followed her to her car and killed her because she told him no.
Yep. No, and this is what I got.
She was sleeping in her own apartment. And they killed, please make that make sense.
And they got charged for the bullets that missed her.
And then the thing that really chapped my cheeks, what city was she in? The city that she was in passed a new law that they named after her, saying that it is, unconstitutional for police to do a search and seizure without a warrant. So y'all passing all these laws and preventing this incident from happening again because you know that it's wrong, but you're not going to hold the men who did it accountable.
Right.
Please make that make sense to me.
People were protesting out them cops' houses and everything. They was making their lives miserable, which was well deserved. I don't feel bad for none of them people.
I will talk about Breonna Taylor until I die, and anyone who tries to justify that can die in their sleep, because nothing about her case makes sense to me. Not a single drip of drop. And at least the nigga who raped and killed that girl in the parking garage, at least he went to jail for it.
Right.
These they're still walking around doing stuff.
Right.
They're just existing.
I mean, people really sat there and justified that because
there's nothing.
You came into their house in the middle of the night. Well, police have done that before too. This is a little bit off the subject too, but I ain't the first time.
To catch like pedophiles and stuff like that.
Now, a serial swatter, when you playing Call of Duty and you winning and the person you playing against get mad, so they call 911 and they give them your location. That's what the whole term swatting came from.
I've never heard that before.
You ain't heard that term swatting? Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Asshole gamers do that.
I wish somebody would give somebody my address because they was losing on the video game. I will come to your house.
Somebody got killed because of that. A man who wasn't even playing the game. It's the middle of the night. He sleep. You see the body footage camera too. He wakes up and he's confused. He's just, what is going on? He didn't have anything in his hand, and he was killed. And the whole family was detained and everything for that. And that ain't right. And that was a white man, by the way, just throwing that out there again. To that
somebody
stupid bitch ex-coworker. She was really sitting here defending Breonna Taylor. Okay, bitch, this happened too to a white man, and nothing happened to those police officers.
Shut up!
Quit trying to defend stupid shit, because it ain't nothing.
There is nothing that no one on the planet Earth,
white, black, it don't matter. When the cops come to your house in the middle of the night and you wake up confused and you get shot anyway in your own home, nothing to defend.
There is nothing.
Fuck them cops.
There is nothing. Good googly. There is nothing that anyone can do or say to justify.
And people gonna get mad at us for saying fuck them cops and saying fuck the police. Like, y'all saying that to us now. We had a reason for saying that. We had a reason for saying that for certain situations. We had a reason to say that for Breonna Taylor. We had a reason to say that for George Floyd. We had a reason to say it for that innocent man who was killed in, I believe it was Arkansas or Kansas.
You cannot justify that.
It was one of those cities. It was one of those states, I mean. There's no justifying that. Fuck the police in them three situations I just named.
While we're speaking on that, I don't know if you were paying attention last month, the individuals involved in Ahmaud Arbery's case, and kudos to the lawyer because she did her thing in that case. Mm-hmm. Not only
all three of them motherfuckers
were found guilty for I think 5 of the 6 charges that they were going up against. And I don't know who the lawyer, I don't know what her name is, but she did her thing on the prosecution. Good. She did not. I've seen the video.
I think a lot of shit was happening these past few months. That's something that got overlooked, and that should have got fucking news coverage. He finally. It
was all over Instagram. It was all over TikTok. It
wasn't talked about enough, though. I feel like it should have been on TV.
But okay, so here's my thing about that, because social media spans farther and gets information out faster than traditional news broadcast systems. So for you to say it's not getting around enough means you're not seeing it on television. I want to say, and this is just my rough guesstimate, 75 to 85% of all information that anyone is getting is coming from their phone via some social media platform.
I mean, yeah, I saw it on Twitter, I think.
Or Twitter. So that's how information circulates now. People don't watch the news. People get on Facebook, people get on Twitter, people get on Instagram, people get on TikTok.
Or I get on the news website personally. If you want like the actual confirmation versus just Facebook, you'll go type in cbs.com to get it. Like, okay, I want to hear a news reporter actually say it. Then that's when you're gonna do that. You're right. Even then, you're still not gonna cut on the TV. You're gonna get on the internet.
I hate watching the news. It's so depressing, but
it is. So, except for that made me happy.
That's how I was getting all the information from my Arbery case, and that lawyer did not hold back. She did not care about none of them. So far,
sadly, he's the only one to really get justice. We're still waiting on justice for everybody else.
Which don't make sense. But if they got her doing it, they gonna get it because she didn't hold back.
All 3 of them were found guilty, and damn it, we'll take that. I know his family is taking that, and I mean, it doesn't bring him back, but knowing that he actually he got justice for his unnecessary killing is all that matters.
Yeah, that's step 1 in the right direction.
Am I petty if I say this out loud? Should I say it?
I don't know what you're finna say.
The family of the lady who got killed last year, are they still waiting for something, or am I petty for saying that?
No, Camille, you're not. It means you have a dark sense of humor. I told you, I don't care.
She shouldn't have been doing shit. I mean, if he can get chased down and y'all can justify him just jogging through a neighborhood, he see a house being constructed on, he wanted to walk through it and look at it real quick and walk off, he had a right to do that.
That's something that teenagers do.
That wasn't illegal.
That's something that I would do. But I mean, times are different now, I guess. I don't know.
I just got one more thing to say real quick because I want to say this real quick.
Okay.
So here's what I said after I made my video, and then I got on Facebook and made this rant. Like I said, they got 5 shares. I didn't know that. I'm just not seeing that now. 5 shares. Dear proud Trump supporters, fucking unfriend me. To anyone defending these horrible people storming the Capitol, fucking unfriend me. I'm going to say this a lot. I'm not done yet. To anyone that proudly said all lives matter or blue lives matter, but are defending these people assaulting cops to storm the nation's Capitol, fuck you and unfriend me. Y'all are throwing temper tantrums because y'all lost. Donald Trump fucking lost. Get over it. No one responded this way when he won, and people were truly terrified, but none reacted this way. Clearly, it was never about Black Lives Matter. Y'all are just fucking racist and sore losers. So please fucking unfriend me. I got 5 shares. I'm proud about that. I know it's not a lot, but still.
Did you get people to unfriend you though? Like, do people unfriend you?
I don't even know. I didn't even care. But he got 25 likes and 5 shares. I was proud about that.
Because usually people say stuff like that and then they don't even lose no friends because they don't. I don't know. But
that's people. Just who gives a shit? Fuck them people. As long as if I offended anybody with that, good. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry.
I mean, who cares? Because
the dark sense of humor that we done said about the people who were maced, who were shot. I'm sorry. How do y'all want us to feel bad for them? We can't. We don't.
I'm gonna be honest.
Y'all can justify a 17-year-old being shot and killed and stand your ground lie. He was in the right when this little boy was just walking down the street and he went inside of the gas station. There's security there. The damn cashier at the gas station wasn't even suspicious or whatever of him. He went
and that equates to the ignorance and audacity that these types of people possess in their being, which I can't make sense of none of that. Okay. But you're ignorant because you don't see the hypocrisy in your own words, and you have the audacity to claim self-defense for one individual and then demand just for another one who did something 10 times as worse. It's contradicting, and I just can't get
George Zimmerman, that motherfucker got arrested how many times since 2012? It's crazy.
Oh God, it's like every other month.
It was crazy how many more times he got arrested. Like, fuck y'all for that. And like I said, somebody, like I said on Twitter or something, that somebody said America fucked up when they didn't make an example out of him, and he should have.
Yep.
Facts, big facts.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, Ahmaud Arbery, I am so glad he got his justice. All 3 of them were found.
And kudos again to the lawyer on Ahmaud Arbery's case. Right. Somebody give her a Medal of Honor because she did her thing.
Finally making an example out of somebody. Y'all are basic ass fucking average people. Y'all are not police officers. Y'all had no right to lynch this man like y'all did, and y'all going to get punished for it. That's simple. They're still fighting for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and we're hopeful, but we know we can't promise anything.
Get the right people on your team, you will be amazed of what's possible.
But it's a year later, and people are still kind of slowly still getting arrested for the Capitol riots and whatnot. And it's
they got a good chunk of them. They got at least 60% of those people arrested, which is a lot.
It's a lot.
Like, and they still looking for them. So they ain't giving up until they get everybody. But
so, well deserved. Don't feel sorry for any of those people. Just y'all were trying to sit here and say her name to the woman who got killed. Like, this ain't the same thing.
That doesn't work for you.
Don't disrespect. Don't disrespect nobody like that by doing that shit. That's not cool. She was breaking the fucking law, and Breonna Taylor was laying at home sleeping. Not the same thing in the slightest. We're not going to compare the two.
Absolutely not.
Just that's it. And just like the little mean girls, like when they be doing, so you agree? You think the police should have been trained better and blah 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 blah? Like, so that's
right, exactly.
That's pretty much what. So y'all agree? The police need to be trained better. They shouldn't be trigger happy. Like, well, that's exactly what the fuck you saying. So shut up. But again, that is a year later. It's been a crazy year.
Yeah, it has.
But anyway, that is everything we had to talk about. Thank you, Sebastian Starr, for joining me on this, the 1 year. I'm not calling it an anniversary. We're not doing that. It's just
anniversaries are happy occasions.
Happy occasions. This is a 1 year mark of
1 year mark.
1 year mark for, domestic terrorism. Just the best way to say it.
That is the perfect way to say it.
Yeah, I want to be mad about some of those rioters that died. Like, they shouldn't have been there. They shouldn't have been doing what they're doing. Versus people who died, who did unfortunately die in the Black Lives Matters. My heart goes out to them.
Or anyone who went missing during those riots.
During those times, we did look that up too. People did get arrested and tried for the murders that did happen during that. The motherfuckers deserve it. Don't feel sorry for any of them. But just RIP to the people who got killed in the Black Lives Matter movements. That's how we are ending this. And thank you again. We will see you next time.